It's been everything but normal.
It was hard in not knowing if I was going to be able to do it, but coming out of it, I'm like, okay, you got this.
My hopes are that we are able to go back and have as normal of a school year as possible.
It's been very tough for me going through the anxiety, depression.
They become your kids and you worry about them just like your kids.
In the back of my mind, I'm just terrified what's going to happen.
Rising COVID cases, full ICUs, a back and forth on mask mandates. It's all causing a range of emotions this school year for nearly every Texas family. Over the next hour, we take you inside Texas classrooms in Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas to hear the fears and hopes of your fellow Texas caregivers, teachers, and our brave kids. Our hope? We, as Texans, come together to navigate our return to the classroom. Well, as you can see, there are not a lot of families hanging out here outside the Long Center in Austin, and that's because our students have returned to the classroom. Despite Austin being one of the fastest growing cities in the country, the Austin Independent School District is seeing a drop in student enrollment, and that's because a lot of families are moving out of the city. I'm here driving the streets of downtown Austin with one of my favorite people in the world, Jordan Hicks.
I am taking Dr. Cross on a tour of Austin, but I think a focus on East Austin to show how the city has changed and how that relates to student numbers in AISD.
Nearly 200 people are moving there each day.
It's not always people who are bringing a bunch of kids with them. It's usually like younger people. So you can see it right here. This house right here looks like it's been here forever.
Sitting right next to this new construction home.
But you're looking at why those AISD numbers are coming down so drastically. People have to move here. It's a good city, but you don't want it to be at the expense of the people who have built lives and generations.
All right, so this is what I've been hearing about.
Absolutely. Anytime you're talking about gentrification in East Austin, you need a happy story.
You need a happy story.
You need to come to Sam's Barbecue.
Yeah.
The community came together and was just like, no, we gotta save Sam's Barbecue. All right. Whoop! How you doing, sir?
What's up, man?
You're taking care of your community.
So you gotta understand. If your community take care of you, you gotta take care of your community. Like, why should I stop?
Yeah. This community that was built, this culture that was built here, you know, if it could happen for Sam's Barbecue, it should be able to happen for schools that are shutting down and for the people whose lives are built here.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Look at this.
All right. Pease Elementary is one of 4 schools being closed in the city.
We're not even on the east side. We're now on the west side.
That problem of people coming in, driving up prices, and everything that's happened. This is an Austin problem, and this was something before COVID even happened.
As COVID cases are rising, especially among young people, Central Texas school districts are responding. Austin now requiring face masks, and nearby Round Rock offering virtual learning to thousands of students. It's a big change districts believe they had to make after dreams of returning to normal last spring faded.
The end of the school year last year represented a new hope for a lot of people because more people were getting vaccinated and cases were going down. Well, now the Delta variant is surging and a lot of families are wondering, what are we going to do? How am I going to keep my kids safe? And that's exactly what I talked to a family here in Austin about.
A little help from Mom would help Gracie Orozco keep track of her favorite virtual learning courses last year.
The art, PE, music. Yeah.
The virtual setup actually had this 9-year-old wanting to go to class.
I don't really like it online.
Having a 3rd grade office mate wasn't a walk in the park for her mom, Siglinda, either.
It was a big challenge for us. We really, as a parent, we need to be aware that she's paying attention and she don't have any other distraction with the dogs or knocking the door somebody.
That's why it was an easy decision for her to send Gracia back to school in person when Austin ISD gave her the option. Still, with cases spiking throughout the year, she never really knew how long it would last.
It was like an in person and learning so many switches in 1 year.
As a parent, Siglinda worries what the back and forward is doing to Gracie.
And there's some questions that probably the family has.
As a parent support specialist for AISD, she's been speaking with parents with those same concerns and more regarding this upcoming school year.
They are opening my eyes for more questions about virtual, about safety, about the Delta, about...
As she answers those questions as best she can, having a student ineligible for a vaccine has her concerned with what the new year will bring.
I'm pretty sure that we're going to be the same. Probably on November, October, the infection is going to be high.
Even as her own student looks forward to returning to the classroom soon.
I feel bad for the people that were in computer because they didn't do it. I'm like, why didn't they come? They should come.
We know our kids are tough. I witnessed it firsthand as a marriage and family therapist for nearly 20 years. But anyone with teenagers knows how hard it can be to really get at what's going on inside their heads. I was fortunate enough to spend time with some brave teenagers at Westwood High School just north of Austin who were willing to open up and give us a look at their hopes, fears, and how we can support them this school year. We want you to know this conversation was recorded before the recent rise in COVID hospitalizations. What has this pandemic been like for you?
Not being able to really connect to people my age, really just having to sit with myself and find different ways to entertain myself. I think that's been the hardest thing to do.
It's just really, really hard not to be able to go up to somebody in practice and give them a hug because I'm a hugger. Or it was super, super hard not to be able to see somebody smile. We all did wear our masks and we did everything so that we could come back to practice. We knew that if somebody did end up getting COVID, that we would be put back on Zoom.
Are you at all concerned about what they're referring to as this learning loss, this lag that could be occurring because we spent this year and a half, some of us, not in the classroom?
I do better when I'm around others. It's just how I thrive. Thankfully this year I was able to get by.
My name is Damian Garza. I am 15. I reside in Austin, Texas. I go to Juan Navarro High School. I am a sophomore. Last year, right before COVID hit, I got to do a concert for the All City Austin performance, which takes place at the Performing Arts Center in downtown Austin. I got to perform for a pretty big crowd. That was really nice. An audience is always better than performing without one, so being able to see that many people was nice. I do film, I do music. I just finished my freshman year virtual, so it's a bit strange.
Compared to last March when we went into lockdown, we thought that this would be something short. At first it was something that we were celebrating. It's like, yay, 2 weeks of vacation.
Yes.
2 weeks wasn't really 2 weeks.
Yes.
It was definitely weird.
Has anyone in your circle been touched by COVID?
My cousin, who is really close to our family, got COVID, and that was kind of when it was at the height. I'd be going to virtual classes, I'd be on Zoom, and it'd almost be like, why am I expected to do all these essays and get this in on time when in the back of my mind I'm just terrified what's going to happen.
It is hard to focus on education when you're concerned about whether a loved one is going to live or die.
And the stress of someone you care about so much, but you cannot physically be there.
We hear that teens have been affected by this pandemic in terms of their mental health. We hear that more teens are dealing with depression, anxiety, burnout, stress, even suicidal thoughts. And I wonder, anyone else who's being transparent can talk about any moments they've had during this pandemic that even scared you.
I'm usually a very sociable person, but it did take me a while to come out of my shell, and having to go back home and stay there for more than a year, it's been very tough for me, going through, like you say, anxiety, depression, even suicidal thoughts.
You've had those thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. You're not the only one.
You're not.
Mm-mm. You're not the only one. And I just know that someone who's watching has had that thought as well. And they're going to connect with your strength because obviously you're here with us. And I'm so glad about that. And I'm so glad that that thought didn't turn into an action. And I appreciate you being honest.
You know, everyone has a dream, right? So I had a dream of being a lawyer. So when we got the pandemic, I feel like everything is gone. Because in my country, we had a 1-year lockdown. So I thought it was only a year, but my friends are still in a lockdown right now, since last year. So actually I had even forgotten how to write because I had spent a year without writing anything.
You spent a year without writing anything?
Yeah, I felt like I'm going to be nothing. I like writing about anything that comes in my mind. So I like writing my schedule, what I'm going to do the whole day, so that I cannot forget, because sometimes I forget a lot. I just wrote my name and my school. My name is Josephine Naso Bukasanyu, Navarro Ali College High School. I'm a senior. I'm from Uganda. I write like small letters, but it's still nice. I think writing, it's all about your hand and what you think. That's when you have like a nice handwriting. You're not spending a whole week with your siblings, and you know siblings can be annoying sometimes. So I felt like, am I stuck here like forever?
It's unique for you because you're new to America. You've only been here 7 months, so you dealt with a pandemic in your home country, now dealing with the pandemic here. What's that transition been like for you? You say you went a year without even writing.
I was the happiest person on earth because I had like to see like many people like studying with me on Zoom. Like I could wake up at 6 and my class is at 9, but I was literally waiting for the class to start for me to see the teacher teaching, to see other people like learning with me. I couldn't even sleep, just waiting for my class to reach so that I can have some fun.
Campuses are opening across the state for in-person learning. Some campuses will have a virtual option, but the majority of students will be returning in person. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm really excited about getting back to school. Like, I did struggle a lot this year with just not being able to see people. And I definitely think going back to school, things are going to be different. And I don't really have a clear picture in my mind of what it's going to be like. And that's what I think is scary to think about. Because it's like the hallways here at Westwood get really crowded. Is that going to happen this year? How is that going to work? And it's just, there's so many questions up in the air right now. And I'm just worried about how comfortable people are going to feel at our school.
We could spend all day talking about the impact of the pandemic, but I wonder if there were any silver linings, anything positive at this stage in your life.
I've known you since first grade.
Yeah.
We were really good friends
Yes.
when we were little. And it's like, we're still together. We're still like just growing as people. And it's really cool to be able to do that beside you.
Yeah, it was kind of cool because like through the pandemic, we kind of like got closer because we were like, well, we live in the same neighborhood. There's not much
Right
we
down the
can
street.
do. Let's just hang out.
That's the bubble. You're in your own bubble.
For me, my life was kind of filled with just musical things. I don't know. I was always singing in a choir and, you know, doing some kind of fine arts. But when the pandemic hit, it's kind of like all of that was just shut down. And I definitely had to find a way to still bring out a sense of authenticity of myself, being able to adapt in, you know, intense environments.
Next, we're in San Antonio, where teachers say they're ready to return to the classroom.
I only want my babies back if it's safe.